Hi Gators, tonight you're going to look at this list and see about how you could take all of these words and put them into only two groups. Take a moment, pause the screen, and try to see how you could separate them into two groups. You might have noticed that each word appears twice on your list. It appears once as a verb and it appears again as a noun, where the ending SION or TION is being added to the words. Now, it's kind of like, remember that rule about drop the E and add ED? It's kind of weird because even though the ending is SION and TION, you are dropping the S and the T in the root word to add this ending to the word. The endings SION and TION do this to the word. It takes the verb and changes it into a noun. So depress means to like depress the lever, to lower the lever would be a synonym for it. And instruct means to teach. So if you are going to depress a lever, you're doing that. If you're going to instruct the students on how to do something, you're going to teach them. So then when you add the SION to it, now depression is a different thing. It is now, depression is a feeling you have when you are feeling low and not happy. So it's a thing that, a way that you feel depression, something that comes over you. Instruction is now a noun, and it is the thing the teacher is going to do. What type of instruction is she going to do today? What type of lessons is she going to do? So this is what she has planned out, her things, or his things that he's planned to teach the class. You will notice that all of the verbs on your paper either end in a T or in an S, like for instance, process. So if the word has a T sound at the end, then you would be using the TION pattern on this word. So collect would become collection. All right, inspect would become inspection. And if you have the S sound at the end, then you're going to use the SION pattern to make it a noun, a procession. A procession is when you have like a group of people coming into chapel. We have that every morning, the procession, all right, as they proceed through chapel. All right, boys and girls, here's just another opportunity to practice your ending of TION and SION. Sometimes the root word is not going to end in a T sound or a S sound, so you have to realize which one would go with it. So right here we notice that educate ends in the T sound, so that's why we're adding TION. But right here, expand, so to expand means for something to grow, and expansion is something your parents might do, and they might have an expansion on their house, so it's a thing they're adding to their house. So when the verb ends in a D, you will notice the rule is that you're going to use an SION. So expansion would change to expansion, to change that into a noun. Once again, protect, you see that T sound, so you're adding the TION. Persuade. So we're seeing that D sound at the end of our verb again. So when you see the D sound or hear the D sound, you're going to say persuade is to convince somebody. A persuasion is something you would write to put together in order to get somebody to agree with you. Persuasion is a type of writing a thing. So persuasion would be spelled persuasion. There you go. And subtract, we hear the T, so we know we're just adding the TION. Decide, once again we hear the D. So to decide is to make up your mind. A decision is what you've come up with. So decision, we notice that we're changing that D to the SION again. And suggest, you guys got it, the T sound, so you're adding TION. Okay, Gators, this is our list of words that also have the same shun sound, but it's actually spelled C-I-A-N. So we know that this shun can be spelled 3 different ways, and here's a long list of all kind of different words. And what's interesting is usually you can find the root word pretty easy, right? So for instance, multiplication, the root word would be multiply. Celebration, the root word would be celebrate. But sometimes there's words like, for instance, right here, section, and it got Miss Ray thinking, what is the root word of section? Well, it doesn't have necessarily a root word that you might recognize because we don't ever use this word to mean this, but the letters SEC are the root word, and those mean to cut. So it makes sense that a section is a piece that you have cut out of something. Maybe if you've cropped a section of the picture, you've cut out some, or you want to read a section from the book. It's just a certain group of pages that you have grouped together and taken out, cut out to read. So root words are really interesting where sometimes the root word is never a word that we use alone, but we connect it to an ending to create a new word, like section. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So you might want to take a moment and look at this list and find words that do have base words to them, and that would be like possession, the base word would be possess, or pollution, the base word would be pollute, and then try to find some words on here that do not have base words, that might just have root words, and then take a moment to try to figure out, well, what does that root word mean? Tonight for homework, you need to make a T-chart on a piece of paper and list 5 verbs on one side from your list and create 5 nouns from your spelling list on the other side to show that you understand the difference between your words. And also, your next test will be on December 2nd on this list. So this will be after Thanksgiving when you guys get back. December 2nd will be our first C day. So that's when you will have a test on this list.